Behind every locked door lies a story the world was never meant to hear. Welcome to Behind Bars TV, where we uncover the hidden realities of the world's toughest prisons, untold inmate experiences, and the systems built to contain them. From supermax facilities to forgotten penitentiaries, we reveal the truth behind concrete walls and razor wire. This is not fiction. This is the world behind bars. They call it Angola, a name born from a slave plantation, a place where time doesn't move forward, it circles back. Louisiana State Penitentiary, the largest maximum security prison in the United States. 18,000 acres of razor wire, farmland, and despair. Home to over 5,000 inmates, 80% of them serving life. Built on the soil of a former slave plantation, and still worked like one. Inside Angola, America's most dangerous prison ever built. Tonight, we enter the farm, a world where violence grows like the crops, and the ghosts of history never left. The land before prison. Before it was a prison, it was a plantation, named after the African nation from which slaves were brought to work the fields. Owned by slave trader Isaac Franklin, the land of Angola ran on chains, whips, and sweat. That history didn't end with emancipation. It just changed uniforms. After the Civil War, Louisiana leased its convicts, mostly black men, to private owners. They were sent to the same fields their ancestors died in. They called it convict leasing, says one historian. But it was slavery reborn under another name. By the late 1800s, Angola had become a state-run prison farm. Those who entered rarely left, not because of sentence, but because of brutality. From slave quarters to cell blocks, the only thing that changed was the paperwork. Building the machine. In 1901, Louisiana bought the plantation outright. The state didn't just inherit the land, it inherited a system. The goal wasn't rehabilitation, it was labor. Inmates grew vegetables, harvested crops, and built roads, under threat of beatings, starvation, or death. Angola was never designed to correct men. It was designed to consume them. By the 1950s, reports of torture and execution circulated through the South. Electric chairs, solitary cells, the red hats, men forced to wear crimson caps and live in isolation. The red hats were treated worse than animals, says a former warden. They slept on concrete, no toilets, no hope. In a country that called itself free, Angola was its open secret. The blood years 1950s, 1970s. By the 1950s, Angola had earned a new name among inmates, the bloodiest prison in America. Stabbings, assaults, and murders were daily rituals. Guards ran the facility through corruption, and gangs ruled the rest. If you didn't belong to someone, said one survivor, you didn't last long. In 1971, a group of inmates began organizing. Among them, Herman Wallace, Albert Woodfucks, and Robert King, later known as the Angola Three. They formed a chapter of the Black Panther Party inside the prison, demanding human rights, books, and an end to abuse. They traded weapons for words, and for that they were buried alive. The Angola Three. After 1972 guard murder, Wallace and Woodfucks were accused, without evidence, according to later appeals. They were placed in solitary confinement for decades. Solitary, a cage the size of a bathroom. 23 hours a day alone. No sunlight, no touch, no sound. For over 40 years, two of the Angola Three remained isolated, one of the longest confinements in U.S. history. They broke their bodies, but not their voices. Their release between 2001 and 2016 marked a national reckoning, exposing Angola's hidden cruelty to the world. The farm was never meant to be seen, but the truth escaped through the cracks. The modern plantation. More than a century after the first prisoner arrived, Angola still looks more like a plantation than a prison. 18,000 acres of farmland. Over 5,000 men behind bars. Most of them will die here. It's not just a prison, it's a world. Angola produces its own crops, raises its own cattle, and even sells produce to the outside world. Inmates wake at 4:30 a.m., work in the fields until dusk, and return to cells worn down by decades of humidity and sweat. You work because they tell you to, one former inmate said. If you don't, you're punished, same as the slaves before. At Angola, freedom is measured not in years, but in acres. The code of survival. Inside Angola, survival isn't about strength. It's about strategy. The social order runs like a pyramid. At the top, lifers, gang leaders, and trusted workers. In the middle, the old men, hardened veterans who know every trick. At the bottom, the new arrivals, called fresh fish. The fish either learn the rules or get eaten. Protection, of course, isn't free. It comes with a contract, debts, favors, or worse. Every corner has its law. Every meal has its tax. Even silence has a price. You learn quick, the guards keep order, but the inmates keep peace. Violence as routine. In Angola, violence isn't chaos. It's a calendar event. Prison experts call it predictable brutality, the cycle of frustration, boredom, and dominance that erupts again and again. There's a rhythm to it, said a guard. Every few weeks, something breaks. The most dangerous places aren't the yards. They're the showers, the kitchens, the corners where cameras don't reach. At Angola, you don't fear death. You fear dying unseen. The Prison Rodeo. Once a year, Angola becomes something else. A bizarre spectacle called the wildest show in the South, where convicted killers ride bulls for $20 and a taste of freedom. Started in 1965, the Angola Prison Rodeo draws thousands of spectators from across Louisiana. Inmates sell crafts, artwork, and furniture to the public. For a weekend, they are performers instead of prisoners. It's not reform, says one former participant. It's distraction, pain dressed up as entertainment. It's a circus on top of a graveyard. The system of control. Every empire needs structure. At Angola, control is mathematical, precise, invisible, total. Every inmate's movement is logged. Every meal, letter, and phone call monitored. Even the music played over loudspeakers is selected for compliance. Freedom is rationed by the minute. Some officers treat the inmates with dignity. Others see them as part of the machine. There's no middle ground. You either run the farm or you get buried in it. At Angola, control isn't about safety. It's about silence. The mind of the farm. Angola doesn't just punish the body. It breaks the mind. The days blur. The seasons melt. Men forget what outside air feels like or what their families look like. Psychologists call it learned hopelessness. The moment you stop believing freedom is possible. You stop thinking about time, one man said. You just try not to disappear. Some prisons hold men. Angola holds their ghosts. The blood economy. Every society builds its own economy, and Angola is no exception. With no money allowed, everything has value. Food, soap, art, favors, silence. A pack of ramen might buy you a haircut. A Bible might get you a tattoo. A phone call might cost 3 months of work. At Angola, money bleeds through the cracks. Guards smuggle phones for cash. Free world employees sneak in tobacco or pills. Families outside wire money through coded messages and Cash App accounts. It's an economy of blood, says a former correctional officer. Everyone profits, except the men who pay. The hierarchy runs deep. Each dorm has hustlers, enforcers, collectors. Debts become danger. And when a man can't pay, violence settles the balance. The farm grows crops by day, and debts by night. God and the gun tower. Angola is a paradox, a prison built on suffering, but draped in scripture. In the 1990s, Warden Burl Kane brought religion to the farm. He claimed the key to control wasn't punishment, it was redemption. He turned the prison into a church. Kane invited Bible colleges inside. He built chapels and allowed inmates to study theology, become ministers, and preach to other prisoners. For some it worked. Men found peace, forgiveness, and purpose. For others, it was a new form of control. They replaced fear of guards with fear of God, said one former inmate. But fear is still fear. At Angola, salvation and surveillance walk hand in hand. The hunger for freedom. No prison is truly escape-proof. Not even the farm. Since its founding, Angola has seen hundreds of escape attempts, most ending in blood or mud. Inmates have swum across the Mississippi, hidden in garbage trucks, and tunneled under fences. Few made it beyond the levees. Every man at Angola dreams of freedom, but the land itself holds him hostage. The swamps surrounding the prison are infested with snakes, leeches, and alligators. More than one escapee has been found face down in the marsh, 2 miles from a fence. Angola doesn't need walls, a guard once said. God built its own. The last ride. At the end of the farm lies the coldest building on its grounds, death row. Here, men count the years, months, and seconds until their execution. Louisiana's electric chair once stood here, a grim relic known as Gruesome Gertie. They said the chair crackled like a storm. Today, executions are by lethal injection. But the fear is the same. Many on death row have been there for 20, 30, 40 years, waiting for the state to decide whether they live or die. The waiting is worse than dying, said one inmate. You die a little every day. At Angola, death isn't punishment. It's routine, the reckoning. Angola's story isn't just about crime. It's about America itself. The soil that once grew cotton now grows corn. The chains that once bound slaves now bind convicts. The history didn't disappear. It evolved. Angola is more than a prison. It's a mirror. Even after federal lawsuits, documentaries, and reform efforts, the system remains vast, efficient, and eternal. But among the thousands still inside, small sparks of hope remain. Art, faith, brotherhood. Somewhere between sin and salvation, says a former prisoner, we found pieces of our souls. Angola may never forget its past, but it teaches us what happens when a nation does. The psychology of isolation. Behind every locked door at Angola lies a second prison, the one inside the mind. Men in solitary spend 23 hours a day alone. No windows, no conversation, no human touch. After weeks, the silence starts to hum. After months, it starts to scream. You begin talking to the walls, said one former inmate. Then one day, the walls start talking back. The human brain isn't built for isolation. Psychologists compare it to sensory deprivation, hallucinations, memory loss, paranoia. But at Angola, it's policy. The farm doesn't need torture chambers. It has time. Guard confessions. Angola breaks more than prisoners. It breaks the people who guard them. Many officers come from nearby towns, men and women raised in poverty, working long hours for low pay. They are taught that discipline means survival. But every day, the line between punishment and cruelty fades. You start thinking of them as animals, said one retired guard. And that's when you lose part of yourself. The system forces officers into silence, too. Report abuse, and you're labeled a traitor. Stay quiet, and the cycle continues. In a place built on control, no one, not even the guards, is truly free. Reform versus reality. For decades, reformers have promised to change Angola. Education programs, faith initiatives, job training. On paper, the farm looks reborn, a model of rehabilitation. But beneath the surface, the same machine still hums. They give you hope in one hand, says a current inmate, and chains in the other. Reports show Angola's population is aging. Most are lifers, many over 60. Too old to escape. Too young to forget. Reform sounds good in meetings, but it's hard to plant mercy in poisoned soil. The Angola Museum. Just beyond the gates of the farm sits a strange monument. The Angola Museum, a place where tourists can see the past, but only through glass. They come to look at artifacts of pain, the chair that ended lives, the photos of chain gangs, the handmade weapons that once ruled the dorms. It's history you can touch, but not feel. We turned suffering into an exhibit, says a civil rights activist. But the men still suffering are just a mile away. At Angola, the past isn't gone. It's on display. The final reflection. Angola began as a plantation. It became a prison. And now it's a symbol of how far America has come and how far it hasn't. The name's changed, says a former prisoner. The system didn't. The farm remains one of the most profitable prisons in the world, feeding the state, housing the forgotten, and echoing with the ghosts of the past. But even here, hope exists. Small, fragile, and real. Every sunrise at Angola starts the same. But somewhere, a man finds strength to keep living. Not because he's free, but because he still believes in freedom. What you just saw is more than a story. It's a reality lived by thousands behind bars. If you believe in uncovering the truth, the kind hidden behind concrete walls and silence, then join us. Subscribe to Behind Bars TV and never miss a chapter in the world's most dangerous stories. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and remember, freedom and confinement are sometimes only a wall.